are Loops and Lap Bars.
And we are here today at Bellewaerde.
We're just in front of Bellewaerde, which is the Hustopple Tower. Yeah. Culmination of all the flat rides that we've done. Yes, I've been on Highlander and Scream, Talakan, all the other great flat rides, but this is the one I've been looking forward to most. It's the only running Hustopple Tower in the world because they're incredibly unreliable. So fingers crossed that we get onto it today.
Yeah.
Got into the park, only negative really so far. Park opened at 10 o'clock, but then it seems that all the rides don't open until 10:30. We're already on a reduced hours day because it's 10 till 5. So not the best start with that one, but it's made up for by the fact that the areas look really pretty, and yeah, it's just a really nicely kept park so far from what we've seen. Amazonia doesn't appear to be running, unfortunately, which is their new Intamin Rapids ride.
Yeah, which we're both looking forward to.
Yeah, which is a bit of a shame, but you know, it's one of those, what can you do? It is a completely new concept ride, as the park's explained. It's not like any other roller coasters in the world that have opened this year that have you know, got existing applications. So I'll give them a little bit of leeway on that one. But yeah, there's the Topple Tower to look forward to. There's Hurricane, which is a Zero Force. Looking forward to that one because it looks like it's got pre-show and things like that.
Yeah.
There's a boomerang. Yeah, there's quite a lot of stuff here to look forward to. So hopefully at 10:30 we'll get on that and update you afterwards.
Yes.
Like a pheasant. Got a bit of gusto to it, hasn't it? Hello again.
Hello.
Yep, so we've done all the rides in the Mexico themed area of the park, which are El Toro, Hurricane and El Volador. El Volador being the Topple Tower, which we'll talk about first. So I was expecting more thrills than what it gave, but it was still a very good time.
Yeah, it was alright. It was comfortable, I will give it that. It's not my idea of fun, but it's not to say I won't be rushing back to it, but at the same time I'm not going to go back on it.
Yeah, it's exactly the same for me. I wouldn't want to queue a long time for it, but it's nice that it exists, and it's also great that the ride-up was telling us that the park is going to be stripping it down during the winter and essentially cleaning it up, maintaining it and getting it back together because the guy who owns the park does not want to get rid of it. Which is understandable because it's a draw. It drew me here.
Yeah.
So if it draws me here, there's going to be others out there that are going to be coming specifically to ride that attraction. Which is it's quite cool. Then there was Hurricane, which is a Zero Force roller coaster.
Yeah, it's mostly indoor. There's a section that's outdoor, but it basically, you've annoyed the gods because they've been locked up and now he's exacting his revenge. Yeah,
and as I said, mostly indoors. There's a really good sort of pre-show where the train meanders through a load of scenes and there's you know, the sound effects because it's got onboard audio and there's like lights and such. And then you go up the lift hill, you can see the outside section of the ride, and then you're indoors. And this is where the sort of the ride kind of ended, I suppose, for me, when it became an actual roller coaster, because it's all in the dark. There's nothing in there, and I kind of feel like, given the fact that you've had this big pre-show, I'd love to have seen, you know,
something in there.
Yeah, like you're kind of like fighting your way out of the god's wrath or something of that ilk. Because it didn't spoil it, but it was just disappointed a little bit, I suppose.
Yeah, kind of big build up, then you had the coaster and it was just like, well, where's the rest of it?
Yeah, and it is a bit of a shame because other than that it was very comfortable, very smooth. Did find that the trains, you were sat right into them, so you know, the Zero car and stuff like that in front of you, they were up to you sort of, up to your eyeballs kind of thing, but other than that,
quite comfortable trains as well.
Yes. Nothing to complain about in that regard. It's just the fact that essentially the big warehouse is dark and there's nothing in it. Then there's El Toro, which is a breakdance. And I suppose in keeping with the theme of the area, this one started off great and then petered off. We were getting some good whip at the start.
As it's called El Toro, you can obviously tell it's themed up to essentially raging bulls running around everywhere, which it suits the theme in well, it suits the area well, and like Dave says, started off really great, and I was like, yeah, we're going to be in for a ride here, and then it kind of died off.
Yeah, it's almost like it slowed down because obviously with breakdancers you get whips where you go backwards and forwards and spin, but then ours just kept kind of
swaying.
Just swaying, which is a bit of a shame, but I don't mind if they're running it like that because it's like a family park and it's not designed for thrill seekers, which give that one a little bit of juice. So that's the entire of Mexico sort of covered.
Yep.
Next attraction is Rio do Café,
which is in the Brazilian area of the park.
And that translates to Coffee River.
Yeah, now this is a log flume, and we looked at the end splashdown, like, oh yeah, it's on rails, we should only get a sprinkling. How wrong we were.
Yes, thorough drowning. Probably not quite as bad as Tidal Wave, but I actually do believe that I got more wet on that than I did on Chapas. And that's saying something. Rest of the ride, kind of unremarkable. You do go, it's a nice little river that takes you around.
Yeah, with a bit of speed as well, which is nice to see for a log flume.
Yeah, it takes you around a bit of rock work. There's not really much to see. I think we did pass by some animal enclosures, but there weren't anything in there, or there weren't anything to see in there. But yeah, I say two hills, but there was only one hill, 2 hills, but only one splash. We didn't have a second one. So there's only the big main splash where the photo's taken. And yeah, thorough drowning, which I suppose was quite nice because it was a bit of a shock.
Yeah.
So that's Rio do Café. And I think next we're going to go on Brazilian Buggies, which is a little junior coaster, new for this year, I believe, as part of the Amazonia area. So we'll give that a go and see what that's like. Bit of a shame that that's not running because that looks really good fun. While we're here looking for the tamarins, of which we can't see them.
We have found a terrapin though.
There is a terrapin down here, which is nice. You won't be, I don't think you'll be able to see, but here you go. He's just there. Oh, you can. So, the old terrapin. Yeah, we've just come off Jungle Mission, wasn't it? Yeah, which is a little boat ride that takes you around some of the animal enclosures. And it was
a lovely little boat ride.
Yeah, it's quite pleasant. Nice little sit down at the very least.
Yeah.
It takes you past, what did we see? Capybaras, tamarins. We were supposed to see coatis, flamingos, and macaws at the end. And although the coatis were probably out doing something else because the buggers. You get really good views of everything else. I've never been that close to a flamingo before, even at Flamingo Land. Quite a few little sort of special effects that go on through the ride as well.
Yeah, and some different ones as well to your standard boat ride, which was nice to see.
Yeah, they had a little cave, which I feel like they could have done a little bit more with, but it was fine as it was. Some lights and sounds and such. Yeah, it's a nice little show. So yeah, it's definitely worth a good sit down. Is that one at the very least? Because the boats are covered as well, so you can do it in all weathers.
Sido ponto Bellewaerde Express, uma distância en de machinist de deur heeft open. Ik wens jullie nog veel plezier.
Ah non, c'est moi là.
So the next part of the park that we're going to talk about is the India section, which includes Hampi and the Bengal Express. Which the Bengal Express is a train that takes you rather uniquely through the tiger enclosure.
Yep, and the lion enclosure as well. Now,
Yes.
the trains and the carriages are fully enclosed, so unfortunately you can't be tiger snacks, nor can you offer your kid
Yes.
as tiger snacks either.
We did see on the way past, walking from one area to the next, that we'd seen that the tigers were all in their little hut sleeping. So we knew we weren't going to see anything on the train, but we thought we'd have a look anyway. And yeah, we weren't surprised to see no tigers, but we were surprised to see the lion,
yeah.
just lazing about as you do. And then, like I said, the other one was Hampi, which is a Zamperla nebulas in the same vein as
Loki
at
from Drone Manor.
This one seems to be a bit more forceful than Loki, but I think this park caters to a slightly older demographic than what Drayton Manor does. And I think the park here is making the right decision. I don't know whether it's on purpose or whether it's accidental, to only half load it.
Yeah.
So it means that they can seem to get more people through.
Yeah,
which is
it's
much
a
better.
brilliant idea to only half load it. Still looks just as good. The Indian area is really well done as well. They've also got a Taj Mahal
Themed
themed climbing frame, which is probably not the right thing to do, but it's quite nice to look at.
I don't know, I like it. I like the
Like-
music in the area. It's a very nicely themed area. There's an attractions that we've still got to go back and do in there yet, but we're going to be going and picking up on attractions on the way back. So that's India.
Yeah.
There's the car, and just over there is where we stayed last night. Really highly recommend staying there. Notice you got there, and there's the entrance to the water park. Really convenient.
Next area then is the Canada area. So we started off this with a ride on Dawson's Jewel, which is essentially a toboggan run, and it's a big toboggan run.
Yeah.
And half of it's not in trees.
Yeah, you can't really see an awful lot of it from off-ride, but on-ride I thought it was really cool. This is, I think you pronounce it Wagon, sport coaster. So it's a completely unique model to me. And yeah, essentially you ride down a long sloping hill with twists and turns on a T-tray.
Yeah, T-tray that brakes itself. The handles that you would use to brake on these style toboggan runs don't actually work. They are literally just there for you to hold on
to. You have got a
And
seatbelt on.
You've got a seatbelt on, and you can see why you've got a seatbelt on. It is quite high. I would say with this one, if you are not a fan of heights or not a fan of seeing where the track is going, give this one a miss. Because I'm not too
tall.
bad, but it's very tall, and it's because it's very open, it's like, whoa, right, okay, this is a bit kind of thing. It was fun, but EBGBs at the same time.
Yeah, what I liked is that you drop your bags off at the bottom of the climb, because rather uniquely you drop your bags off, then you go up a series of like sort of slopes, ramps.
Yeah.
There's no stairs, so it's quite easily accessible for people who have trouble with stairs. There is also a lift for wheelchair users, but anyway, you go all the way up to the top, and then you board your vehicle there, and then slide all the way down. There's no lift hill for you, so I think it's much better than the likes of the ones at Oakwood and Durinell, which are very similar, but they're more alpine toboggans where you've got free running track. This one has it's a proper roller coaster. There is track, and the train can't deviate from that. So yeah, Dawson Jewel, definitely worthwhile visiting. and it has an on-ride photo, but the photo kiosk wasn't working.
Yes.
And the next one that we're going to talk about in the area is Wakala, which is a Gerstlauer family coaster. And I have yet to ride a bad one of these.
Yep. Yeah, this is a lovely little coaster, and for the coaster nerds out there, you will be sat there on your first run through going triangle track, straight track, triangle track, straight track.
Yes, it's I don't know why Gerstlauer do that, but they've got the triangular shaped track and then flat track.
Yeah.
At certain parts, I presume it's to do with stresses and things like that. It's not a particularly intense roller coaster, but it does go, weaving and winding through trees and stuff like that. It's probably about as thrilling as what Dragonfly was yesterday.
Yeah,
up
it's
the
in the
Faro.
same vein as Pegasus Express at Park Asterix if you've done that. And it's smooth, it is butter smooth, and it's a lovely little coaster, surprisingly longer than you expect as well.
Yeah, got 2 lift hills, and it does have a small backward section, so you go through a brake run, up a spike, and then you back into the same brake run, and then into the station. It's not really, I was expecting a little bit more from the backward section, but it's not the end of the world. What we got is absolutely fine. So that's Dawson Jewel and Wakala.
So the next ride we went on then was a ride called Screaming Eagle, which is a Huss drop tower, and it's quite unique for drop towers. It is a shot drop tower, which I predominantly prefer the shot drops because you're up and that's it. And it's a brilliant little ride. You get on with some assistance if you're short.
Yeah, the seats are quite high up.
Yeah. And it shoots you from the ground up. There's no sort of 10 foot in the air before it shoots you. This goes from the ground up. And it's got a nice bit of force to it, but nothing that you're going to sit there and go, oh my word, that was terrifying.
Yeah.
And then it'll sit there, it'll do a few bounces before it'll take you back up to the top, and then essentially it does let you free fall. And then we had a really, really good ride up. He was coming out and essentially going through the motions of I'm going to let you out now, and then he'd shoot you up again.
Yeah.
And it was brilliant.
It's, in some ways it's better than the S&S variants, like Ice Blast and such, in that it does just launch you, whereas Ice Blast you get taken up and then you're launched, or with the likes of Cliffhanger at Flamingo Land, where it shoots you up, exactly the same thing, takes you up, then shoots, then takes you to the top and drops you. I don't think the drop on that one is as good as what an S&S's drop is, but its launch is better.
Yeah.
Because there's no messing around, it's just buff off to space with you. Bounces around, and then, like I say, it takes you up to the top, and then it's more of a sort of a descended free fall rather than a proper sort of drop.
Yeah.
But yeah, thoroughly love that. The restraints were comfortable. Anyone can ride it. I mean, so I think it's a 1.4 metre requirement though, so it is on the thrill side. But yeah, we've been on higher drop towers this holiday, but that's still great. The only other attraction to really notably talk about is Niagara, which is a boat ride, very similar to Tidal Wave at Thorpe Park.
Yeah.
We're going to give that one a miss because we don't want to get drenched again.
Yes. And like Tidal Wave, the way it's laid out, it does look like it gives you a proper soaking.
Yeah.
Because sort of the wave comes up, but it also at the same time goes under the viewing platform, so it comes up over and it goes in the boat regardless.
Yeah, I'll hopefully at this point I'll put some videos up, but it's an interlink one, this one, which is a little bit different to ones that we've seen. But yeah, we're going to give that one a miss. Just on the wander back down to the car now, so it's got a couple of things to finish up. First being the Rapids ride.
Yep.
Which one was it? What's it called?
Bengali Rapids River.
Yeah, Bengali Rapid River rather than Bengali River Rapids, something like that. But for the most part, it was quite tame, wasn't it?
It was a very pretty ride, decent length and decent rapids as well.
Yeah, so it's very tame until it wasn't very tame, and it only came in fits and starts. Every so often you'd be floating around very nicely, and all of a sudden it'd get really, really sort of rapid and rough, which was quite nice because it meant that you got time in between. As Tracy always has problems with this on roller coasters, it's nice on a rapids ride to have a bit of a breather in between parts.
Yeah.
Did get a little bit wet on that one though.
Dave did.
Yeah, Tracy managed to dodge everything. I got bloody soaked again. And then the other one that we're going to talk about is Boomerang.
Boomerang, yeah.
Which, as the name would imply, is a Vekoma boomerang.
Yeah.
And this one, I don't know the age of this one, but it still uses the original Vekoma trains, which are, in my opinion, bloody awful.
Yeah. Yes.
But
a bit jerky on the way out, less jerky on the way back, and on the way back it picked up a decent bit of force as well.
yeah, very much like Speed of Sound at Wallaby the other day. The return journey, when you're at the front, you get a right good kick of whip as you're going over the top of the vertical loop.
Yeah.
And I really do like that. It's rapidly becoming one of my favourite sensations in roller coasters. I know we've got big things like Tau Tatis and Taron and Red Force, but the old Vekoma boomerangs on the return journey still can keep up with the big boys.
They can, yep.
So that's really that. We're going to do the wrap up in the car because we've got a couple of things to talk about, as well as the water park. Here we are in the car.
Yeah.
Here to do the wrap up of Bellewaerde. So first off, I'll start off with the things that we liked, which is pretty much all of it. It was a nicely themed, well looked after, well maintained park. And I think now I'm thinking about it, I don't remember seeing any sort of vandalism or anything broken down. I mean, we did see writing on some stones,
Yeah.
but that's about it. All the queue line fences were intact.
Yeah.
There wasn't anything to call anything in terms of like damage. The attractions, there was a good range.
Yeah.
Could probably done with a bit more on the top end of thrill, but I was satisfied with everything we went on.
Yeah, everything was good today.
Um,
Park operations have been really good today as well.
Yeah.
And all staff in general have been super nice.
Yeah, thoroughly pleasant to be around.
Yeah.
And the food that we've had, because we've had that super burger, which was €5. Obviously drinks. And then at the end of the day, I had what can only be described as a hot dog, where the sausage was in the bread roll. That combined with the drink was €8.50. So yeah, it's been tasty. Exactly the same as the aqua park. The food that was there, we'll talk about, was also very tasty.
Food, that's the only slight negative. Yes, it is on slightly a pricier side, but you're getting the quality and it is tasty. Like I say, it is more expensive. Drinks though, you're going to be looking at $4.70 for a standard kind of large
500,
size
400 milliliter drink,
soda. So bear that one in mind. It might actually work out cheaper to get the slush free.
Tracy's jumping the gun with that one, but anyway. Following positives. It was nice to see sort of a good variety of animals and the way that they presented them as well. Like I say, with the train ride earlier on, and the enclosures, they all felt like there was good ways for you to get in there and see the animals.
Yeah.
And once again, all the enclosures were really clean and tidy.
Yeah.
On to the negatives. The only thing that's really a negative here is the cost. The park tickets were reasonably priced. I'll put the price here. But yeah, you're paying €4.70 for a drink. T-shirts, some of them were like €19.
Yeah, some of them were 18, €19, others were 20, 25.
But you could be paying upwards of €60-70 for some of the big soft toys.
Yeah.
I mean, what was the other thing that we both remarked on that was really expensive? I know the cushions.
Little small stuff like pens and pencils. You were looking at €2 for pencils, €5 for a pen, which compared to other parks locally, I don't think is within keeping. That's not to say that merchandise wasn't good, because it was good quality, but some of the prices I think just need slight tweaking.
Yeah, and the only other thing on merchandise, which is probably on the negative side, is that there's only Bellewaerde merchandise. There's nothing for Boomerang, there's nothing for Carla or any
Yeah.
of the rides specifically, which is a bit of a shame. But it's there's plenty of other
There is-
park-specific stuff.
There is themed area merch, i.e. you can get the Bellewaerde stuff in the Canada theme or in
The
the
India stuff.
Indian theme, which is nice to see, but it would be nice to see, like Dave says, ride-specific stuff.
Water park. I was going to say this is the final wrap up, but it's not. It's the water park next. So I'm just closing my door because I wouldn't let someone knock it off. Yes, the water park was excellent. Great, great sort of price. I'll once again put the price on the screen for you. Well, I don't know about you, but I did feel that Alton Towers as water park is better in a lot of ways. There's a lot more to that park, but this one felt very clean and tidy and new.
Yes. Yeah, there's a bit more to do at Towers' water park, but that's not to say that you won't spend 5 hours in here. We didn't think we did when we first got in, and we did. We were here for the whole 2 to 7 o'clock session.
Yeah, 2 till 7, yeah.
And yeah, we found enough to do. And if you've got little ones, they'll be absolutely well away, and you can have 5 hours apiece.
Yeah, exactly. Aquaventure, which is the big slide, apparently that's a first in Europe, where you board a raft, up to 4 people get in a raft, and then you go down through a slide, and you come outside into open air, onto a leaf, splash back down into the indoor section.
Yeah.
Really cold when you come outside.
The outside section is a bit jarring, and it's got cold water out there as well, which you don't expect.
But it is quite nice.
Which is quite nice.
Then there's the 2 racing slides. What is it? Splash Clash.
Splash Clash. Yeah.
Which they were pretty cool, and just saying that we managed to set a record on that one because we're fat.
yeah, we did 17.65 down
Seconds,
down one of the race tubes yesterday.
Yep, so because we got on together. The little slides inside, I thought actually the little slides inside were more fun than the big ones. For 2 things. Firstly, they were more accessible, and secondly, you could readily straight get onto them.
Yeah.
Specifically Max Splash, which is a slide that's wide enough for 2 people. As I said, we in the previous part about food, we did get food in there. I'm just trying to get my receipt out. It was incredibly tasty. It was probably the best burger that I've ever had at a park, because it tasted almost exactly like a McDonald's burger, only it wasn't a McDonald's burger. And we paid the grand total sum of €31.10 for the 2 of us, because we're exactly the same thing. And that came with, while Tracy died, a burger, chips, a drink,
and a cake.
and a cake as well, which was a bit sort of unique, and then also put a ketchup and mayonnaise on, because like a lot of European parks, you have to pay for your condiments separately. So yeah, can highly recommend the water park. I do wish it was bigger, but for the cost, absolutely can't fault it.
Yeah, they do have a unique changing system though. So you obviously, when you go in, you scan your tickets, you get a band for the locker, and obviously for you being in there as well. And you go through, you take your shoes off in a take your shoes off area, then you go through to the locker, to changing rooms and the corridor, and the changing rooms are double-sided, so essentially
you go in one side,
you go in one side and out the other, so that things stay dry and wet stays wet, and it's a brilliant way of doing it.
Yeah, so can't fault it, really did enjoy that. And with that, we might as well wrap up, because the aqua park and the theme park themselves, Bellewaerde, is definitely well worth a visit.
Yeah, genuinely get yourselves out here. You can easily do 2 days.
Yeah.
So there's enough in the local area if you're interested in the local area and its history to go and look and see and do as well.
Exactly, there's a lot of World War I stuff, but obviously we'll leave it at that. So before the GoPro really does melt itself, we're going to wrap up there. That is the last one of our mainland Europe trips. This has been Bellewaerde. Thank you very much for watching all of these, if you've watched all of these. And thank you everybody that's been supporting us on Instagram and such like that. You've all been
And if we
wonderful.
saw you around, then hello.
Yes, this is all for you guys. So thank you very much. That's a sign out from Bellewaerde.
Bye. Bye.